Hi everyone, it's about 5:30 and this is your video 261. It's your closing comment for Monday, June the 1st. And I want to remind you, if you like our work, like us here and subscribe. Today was kind of a yawn of a day, although underneath it all, there was actually a lot going on. I have the US dollar index here on the screen. I don't think I've ever had it on here, but I want to point out that no matter what a stock market does, and no matter what the news is, one of the easiest ways to judge a country is by its currency, and this one seems to be headed lower. All of the moving averages have turned down. We had the big blow off in, let's see, the 104 area up here, and now we're below 98. I mentioned that because there were a lot of commodities today that are priced in US dollars that had kind of wishy-washy days, which is unusual because with the dollar down, these dollar-denominated commodities should be higher. Gold, for one, finished about unchanged, but it had been down $15 earlier in the day. The oil was down a couple of pennies, and it had been up quite a bit during the day. But the two that were most obvious were the British pound and the Australian dollar. The British pound had a very strong day today. It was up 0.017. That's 1.7 cents on a $1.24 commodity. So that's pretty substantial, but it was nowhere near as substantial as the Australian dollar being up 0.014, because the Australian dollar is only a 67-cent commodity. So that was a very substantial move, and Australia has very much a commodity and mining based economy, and so action in the Australian dollar kind of favors the miners. And we saw that with the gold. Even when the gold was down $15, Newmont Mining, NEM, was actually up on the day, and when the gold closed basically unchanged, Newmont was up over $2 to over $60. The Dow was up 91, which is just 0.36%. NASDAQ was up 62. 0.66%. The S&P was up only 11, and the Russell was also up 11. Volume was light, and the advanced declines were kind of interesting. On the New York, they were 3-1 up, but on the NASDAQ, they were half that, only 1.5 to 1 up. On the Dow, there were 18 higher, 12 lower. Nothing really a standout except for Boeing, which added the equivalent of 37 Dow points, which is 40% of the move to the upside. The strong groups were financials, energy, real estate, and utilities, while information, tech, and healthcare were the weak sisters. We had an ISM report that wasn't as bad as expected at 43.1. However, that is the third month in a row where we are below the break point, which is 50. Construction also saw a decline of 2.9% in April, which was also about as expected, but on a year-over-year basis, construction spending is still up 3%. Some of the bigger moves were in the stocks that have been heavily shorted and down. For example, the cruise lines. And we had a couple of outstanding. VTIQ, which is the company that Nikola, the electric car maker, is going in, was up about $6 to 42, which is a fairly substantial move. Gilead was down 267 or 3.4% because they had another disappointing uh, trial, third stage trial of remdesivir, which seems to help patients who are only mildly ill, but it was a big disappointment. And the best one to talk about today, I would have to say, is Tesla. Was up $64, and that was 7.5%. That puts it at $898, which is $70 below its all-time high. There was no specific Tesla news, but the weekend success of SpaceX, which is always considered to be part of the Elon Musk DNA of business, had its really a success on the delivery of the astronauts in their capsule to the space station. That's about it for today, and I'll